Hi, I'm Gail Sokol, and on today's show, we'll be discussing the Reuben.
Welcome to Baking Radio. Learn the art and science of baking with author, educator, and award-winning chef, Gail Sokol. Whether you've been baking your whole life or you're brand new to the world of baking and you're looking to build your confidence and learn new skills in the kitchen, you're in the right place. This is Baking Radio.
On today's show, we will discuss the Reuben sandwich. Yeah, you heard that right. So why would I, Chef Gail Sokol, a baker, want to discuss a sandwich? Why? Well, we're going to get to that in a bite, or should I say a bit. Be patient, be patient. So what exactly is a Reuben? Let's discuss it in more detail. The Reuben sandwich, for those who have never had one, is quite unusual in its makeup. At least I think it is. Traditionally, the Reuben sandwich begins with rye bread. It's spread heavily with Russian dressing and covered in thin slices of corned beef, topped with thinly sliced Swiss cheese, topped with all things sauerkraut? Yeah, sauerkraut. And then the sandwich is covered with yet another piece of rye bread. And then the whole thing is grilled on both sides until the bread is toasty and the cheese is gooey and melted. Hold the phone. That sounds delicious. That's what sends this sandwich over the edge. It's the grilling. A delight to behold and eat. And I'm sure many of you have had one. This sandwich reminds me, believe it or not, of one of those, those weird animals you see in the zoo that seem to have mismatched body parts from an assortment of different animals. Who thought of rye bread with all these strange fillings that each in their own right would make a perfectly respectable sandwich? Why? Why put them together? Because it's delicious, that's why. Let's explore the history of the Reuben. There are actually two possible origins of the Reuben, and no one can swear which one is true. If you know the truth, please reach out to me and let me know because I have no idea. Reuben Kolakowski, a Jewish Lithuanian man in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places, was a part of a weekly poker game in a hotel known as the Blackstone. Mr. Kolakowski, Reuben, made this famous sandwich right there for his buddies whenever they played poker, and it was a super hit. And of course, they called it after him. So that's one story. Not so exciting, but it's a story. The other story of the Reuben goes like this. Arnold Reuben, owner of Reuben's Delicatessen in New York City, invented this interesting combo of ingredients, and he called it the Reuben Special. Simple as that. And this all happened in 1914, so it goes way back. Sort of cool. I, frankly, don't care who came up with this incredible sandwich. The world is grateful. Whoever you are, we are grateful for your contribution to the culinary world. Thank you. Thank you. So here I go back to the question as to why, oh why, would a baker like me want to talk about a sandwich like the Reuben? Well, I'll tell you why. I came up with an easy, yeasted Reuben Braid that is so incredibly delicious you have to try it. It's one huge loaf of homemade bread with rye in it that is filled with the Reuben fillings, and it feeds a crowd. I am going to read you the Reuben Braid recipe right now. But you can get this recipe, which is originally from my cookbook about professional baking. That's my first book, my textbook, and from my website, chefgailsokol.com. I also have a video on my YouTube channel so you can actually watch step-by-step instructions on how to make this incredible, huge sandwich. So are you ready? In the bowl of an electric mixer, you're going to add 2¼ cups of warm water. And if you have a thermometer, you want that water to be 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, dip your finger in it, and if it feels nice and warm, you got it. That's the temperature for you. And that's the temperature for the yeast, because we never want to kill yeast. Then you want to add 2 tablespoons of some sort of an oil, canola, olive oil, whatever you prefer. So far in your electric mixer, you have water and oil. And in another bowl, you're going to whisk together 4 cups of bread flour, and you're going to save ½ cup more just in case if your dough is too wet later on. You're going to add 1 cup of rye flour and 1 3/4 teaspoons of instant active dry yeast. And that is fast rising yeast. We want that real super powerful yeast because we want a quick rise. So with the paddle attachment on low speed, you want to slowly add this flour mixture to the liquids in the bowl and blend them well. Then you want to clean that paddle off and change it to the dough hook and add up to 1/2 cup more of that remaining bread flour until a nice, soft dough forms. It's a beautiful dough. Stop the machine, cover the bowl with a clean kitchen towel. We're going to give the dough what I like to call a little rest for about 10 minutes. This is going to help your flour absorb all the water, and it's actually going to create a better quality of gluten formation, which will help the dough rise better. Uncover the bowl after 10 minutes, and on medium speed, you want to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt and mix until well combined. So do this for about a minute. Then you want to place the dough onto a floured work surface and knead it to develop the gluten for a few minutes. It will come together and be smooth and elastic really quickly because of that little rest we gave it. So the dough should not feel too sticky. If it is, you might want to knead in a little flour. You want to spray a large bowl with nonstick cooking spray and place the dough in the bowl. Flip it over so the grease side is up. Cover that bowl tightly with plastic wrap and let it rise for about an hour. That's all you're going to need. So while the dough is rising, you preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you want to turn a 12-inch by 18-inch sheet pan upside down and spray the bottom of it with nonstick cooking spray. What? Yeah, I did. I said that. I said turn your sheet pan upside down. There's a reason why I'm having you do this. So once you form your Reuben on your beautiful work surface, wherever it is, it's very hard to transfer because it's big. It's 15 inches long. And unless you're an octopus, you're going to have trouble transferring it onto your sheet pan in just the right position to bake perfectly. So I find it's a lot easier to bake it in an upside down sheet pan. Then you're going to place the dough on the baking sheet and roll it out after it's risen for an hour and roll it into a rectangle 15 inches by 10 inches long using a rolling pin. You roll it out right on that upside down baking sheet. So after you've rolled out your dough, you're going to make your Russian dressing. You're going to combine 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of chili sauce, and a tablespoon of pickle relish in a bowl and just mix it together. And if you want to buy store-bought Russian, go ahead. Now you're going to spread the mixture down the center of the dough lengthwise, leaving 3 inches of dough uncovered on either side, and then top the Russian dressing with 1/2 pound of thinly sliced corned beef, sort of shingled up and down the length, 1/4 pound of sliced Swiss cheese, and 1/2 pound of sauerkraut, well drained. You want to squeeze out any excess liquid because you don't want a real squishy sandwich. You want it nice and dry inside. Then the 3 inches on either side that's exposed, you want to cut the uncovered dough along the sides of the filling into 3-inch long strips using a small knife, a pizza wheel, or even kitchen scissors. This will resemble fringe. Starting at one end and alternating sides, you want to fold the strips in at an angle, left, right, over across the filling to look like it's a braid. You'll see once you start alternating those little fringes, it'll actually look like it's a braided loaf. And then using a pastry brush, you want to brush the finished braid with a beaten egg white. Sprinkle it with caraway seeds if you like caraway seeds. Some people like seeded rye, some people like unseeded rye. Your choice. And then you bake this bread on the upside down sheet pan at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 to 40 minutes or until it's nicely browned on the top and sides. You want to cool it for about 5 minutes, but not too long because you want that cheese ooey and gooey. And then you cut it into slices. And you can serve it warm, you could serve it at room temperature, any way you want it, but it's great for a crowd. Makes one 15-inch long braid. So I hope you try my Reuben loaf. It's actually super easy to make. And if you notice, we didn't have to let it rise again after it was shaped. It's just one rise, 1 hour, and then you got Reuben Braid for dinner. Super simple. And remember, you can get this recipe, which is from my first cookbook about professional baking, and from my website, chefgailsokol.com. And remember, I also have a video on my YouTube channel, so you can watch step by step how I make it. On my next show, we're going to be talking about vital wheat gluten. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, my YouTube channel, and my website, chefgailsokol.com.